ॐ ॐ ब्रह्मानन्दं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं विश्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वधी साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम् शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। ॐ श्रीकृष्ण परमात्मने नमः। अथ श्रीमद्भगवद्गीता अष्टादशोऽध्यायः मोक्षसन्न्यासयोगः। अर्जुन उवाच सन्न्यासस्य महाबाहो तत्त्वमिच्छामि वेदितुं त्यागस्य च हृषीकेश पृथक् केशिनिषूदन। श्रीभगवानुवाच काम्यानां कर्मणां न्यासं सन्न्यासं कवयो विदुः सर्वकर्मफलत्यागं प्राहुस्त्यागं विचक्षणाः। त्याज्यं दोषवदित्येके कर्म प्राहुर्मनीषिणः। यज्ञदानतपः कर्म न त्याज्यमिति चापरे। निश्चयं शृणु मे तत्र त्यागे भरतसत्तमा। त्यागो हि पुरुषव्याघ्र त्रिविधः सम्प्रकीर्तितः। यज्ञदानतपः कर्म न त्याज्यं कार्यमेव तत्। यज्ञो दानं तपश्चैव पावनानि मनीषिणाम्। एतान्यपि तु कर्माणि सङ्गं त्यक्त्वा फलानि च कर्तव्यानीति मे पार्थ निश्चितं मतमुत्तमम्। नियतस्य तु सन्न्यासः कर्मणो नोपपद्यते मोहात् तस्य परित्यागः तामसः परिकीर्तितः। दुःखमित्येव यत्कर्म कायक्लेशभयात् त्यजेत् स कृत्वा राजसं त्यागं नैव त्यागफलं लभेत्। कार्यमित्येव यत्कर्म नियतं क्रियतेऽर्जुन सङ्गं त्यक्त्वा फलं चैव सत्यागः सात्विको मतः। न द्वेष्ट्य कुशलं कर्म कुशलेनानुषज्यते त्यागी सत्त्वसमाविष्टो मेधावी छिन्न संशयः न हि देहभृता शक्यं त्यक्तुं कर्माण्यशेषतः यस्तु कर्मफलत्यागी सत्यागीत्यभिधीयते अनिष्टमिष्टं मिश्रं च त्रिविधं कर्मणः फलं भवत्यत्यागिनां प्रीत्या न तु सन्न्यासिनां क्वचित् पञ्चैतानि महाबाहो कारणानि निबोध मे साङ्ख्ये कृतान्ते प्रोक्तानि सिद्धये सर्वकर्मणाम् अधिष्ठानं तथा कर्ता करणं च पृथक्विधं विविधाश्च पृथक् चेष्टा दैवं चैवात्र पञ्चमम् शरीरवाङ्मनोभिर्यत् कर्म प्रारभते नरः न्यायं वा विपरीतं वा पञ्चैते तस्य हेतवः ॐ तत्सत्
Okay. Do you want to do the Manana, or we reading the, I think we were reading 13 verse, right? Yesterday?
Yeah, we'll read the 13th verse one more time and then
1 second. Yeah. Sorry. Okay. So we were doing, Samaji was reading yesterday. We didn't do the 14. It's Panchaitani. This is the one we were supposed to start, right? We did the 12th already yesterday. Paramartha Sannyasa. Okay. So this we did some yesterday. We did some Manana on this.
we'll read the shloka 13 from the beginning.
Oh,
and
okay.
Then, yeah.
Okay. All right. That's good. Panchattani Mahabahu Karanani Nibodhame Sankhye Kritante Praktani Siddhaye Sarva Karmanam Mahabahu. O mighty armed Arjuna, Sarva Karmanam Siddhaye, for the accomplishment of all karmas. Sankhye Kritante, in the Shastra at the end of the Vedas. Praktani are told. Etani, these. Pancha, 5. Karanani, causes. Me Niboda, understand from me. Understand from me, Arjuna, these 5 causes for the accomplishment of all karmas, told in the Shastra, at the end of the Vedas, that is Vedanta, which is the point of culmination of all karma. Krishna, addressing Arjuna as the mighty armed one, Mahabaho, says, Niboda. Sorry, Krishna addressing Arjuna as the mighty armed one, Mahabaho, says, Niboda, please understand. This is said not only to draw the attention of Arjuna, but also to indicate that the subject matter changes now. It is connected to what has been said, no doubt, but still there is a turn in the flow of his teaching. Again, so I'm going to read this line one more time. It is connected to what has been said, no doubt, but still there is a turn in the flow of his teaching. In order to show that the turn is taking place here, he says Niboda. Please understand. For the accomplishment of all forms of action, sarva karmanam siddhaye. So, for the accomplishment of all forms of action, that is sarva karmanam siddhaye, whether scripturally, whether scripturally enjoined, Vaidika, or worldly, laukika. These are the five causes. Pancha etani karanani. He says this etani, keeping in his mind what is going to come. Pancha etani karanani. So, what is going to come? As we do today when we say, I met this man, you have not previously mentioned him, so a pronoun is not appropriate, and to use one is grammatically incorrect. Still, this has become common parlance because you have him in mind and are going to talk about him in more detail. It is the same here. These five types of causes are told praktani. Again, these five types of causes are told praktani, where in the Vedanta Shastra. All karmas find their culmination in Atmajnana. By way of praise of these causes, he says that they are told praktani. So, by way of praise, I hope you guys can see these letters. I forgot to enlarge this. Okay. By way of praise of these causes, he says that they are told praktani in Sankhya, in which
It is proktani.
Proktani. Okay, sorry. Did I say
Proktani.
praktani? Sorry.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Proktani.
Proktani. Sorry. Okay. Proktani in Sankhya, in which, in Sankhya, which Shankara says is the Shastra that enumerates various things to be understood. So, in Shastra, that enumerates various things to be understood. In other words, excuse me, sir. Door சாத்திருந்தோம். Sorry, my husband is leaving. Vedanta. So the Shastra has an adjective here. Here, Kritanta. So the Shastra has an adjective here, Kritanta. What is done, Krita, is called karma. The end, anta, or culmination of that is Kritanta. Oh, okay. Krita anta. Kritanta. Krita is what is to be done, anta is the end. So that is to be done. This is the Shastra where all karma culminates in the knowledge. So this is the Shastra where all karma culminates in the knowledge of Atma as a akarta. Or because the first part of the Vedas deals with karma, this is the Shastra, which is at the end of the enumeration of all these karmas. It is also said it is also that in which all the karmas resolve, having brought about antakarna shuddhi. How do all karmas end in knowledge? Shankara quotes a part of an earlier verse. Just as a well is useless when everything is flooded with water, so are all the Vedas for the wise. Okay, this is what you said. Yavan artha udapane sarvataha sampluto dake tavan.
One second.
Tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasya vijanataha. That's from the second chapter. The various rituals, etc., mentioned in all three Vedas. So the various rituals, etc., mentioned in all three Vedas are of as much use to a wise man as a well is to anyone when there is water everywhere due to the flood. When the well itself is underneath the water, of what use is it? That is how useful the karmas in all three Vedas are for the wise man. All the karmas are meant to make him happy, but he has discovered the happiness in his nature. There is nothing to be gained further. Everything that is to be done is done by him, because when Atmanjnana is born, everything else is accomplished in that all the karmas resolve into his knowledge. Therefore, Vedanta is called Kritanta, the end of all karmas. So the Vedanta is called Kritantas, the name for it, the end of all karmas. In this Shastra, the 5 factors that are necessary for the performance and successful completion of a karma are told. They are those factors because of which actions are accomplished, from which alone the karmas emanate. They are to be understood, because if you know which are the causes directly involved in all these actions, Atma will stand out as Akarta, because it ends in the knowledge. It is only to point out that Atma is not one of them, but is independent of all of them. That he shows all these factors involved in an action. Okay, let me quickly read this last paragraph. In this Shastra, the 5 factors that are necessary for the performance and successful completion of a karma are told. They are those factors because of which actions are accomplished, from which alone the karmas emanate. They are to be understood, because if you know which are the causes directly involved in all these actions, Atma will stand out as Akarta. It is only to point out that Atma is not one of them, but is independent of all of them, that he shows all these factors involved in an action. So what are they? What are those factors? So should we move on, or maybe you want to do this Manana and the 13th verse? So question here is panchatani. Panch, oh, panchaitani. So that's what it is. Okay, panchaitani. Mahabahu, Karnani. Okay, so he trying to get Bhagavan Krishna trying to get under attention of Arjuna by saying Nibodhame, please understand me. There are 5 causes, Mahabahu, for 5 causes are there. Sankhya is Sankhya Kritante. So it's at the end of the Vedanta Shastra. Uh, so to accomplish all the karmas is possible. So that is kind of explained there in the Vedanta. So, sorry, did I say it correctly? So anyway, I'll read it from here. Understand from me, Arjuna, there are 5 causes for accomplishment of all karmas, which is what we said, told in the Shastra at the end of the Vedas, in the Vedanta, which is the point of culmination of all karma. So all the karma ends in the knowledge, that is the Atma. So the example given here, um, there are 5 causes, that is to accomplish all the karmas. That is what he was going to tell. And then he says, once you accomplished this karmas, how the karma is not needed anymore to be done because they attain the knowledge. Like the example given here, that sloka from the second chapter. When the well is under the flooded water, what is the use of having well water? Like that, the Vedas, uh, the karmas that is told in the Shastra Vigita karmas are is helpful in the earlier part for Antakarna Shuddhi, but then after that, once attain the knowledge, it's not useful anymore. So you have
This
to read it.
actually links up to the previous verse where he says, Nadveshtya kushalam karma,
Mm. That
karma no.
is
So he does not, he's not averse to
doing karma.
either karma, either
Mm.
the
You mean auspicious in inauspicious
auspicious,
karma?
inauspicious karma. He is
Right.
not averse to, or does he have any raga
No
towards
raga dvesha.
Niyatam
Right.
karma?
Mm-hmm.
So he just is in that state of non-doership. He this here is talking about the
Mm.
jnani state. He says all karma ends in jnana. Kritante. Krita is karma, the karma kanda. So all of that ends ultimately in knowledge. All of that.
Mm. Right. That
Which is why
one.
again, yajna dana tapah karma na tyajet. So for
Okay.
a person, a sadhak who hasn't reached, who hasn't realized himself yet, and who has taken up the lifestyle of a karma yogi, yajna dana tapah karma is important.
Right.
Pavanani manishina. Uh, uh, they purify the person.
Mm. Right.
And by
So.
purification, we mean antakarana shuddhi. So that all the
Mm.
raga dveshas are dropped. And when
Right.
that happens, ultimately, he will, of course, pursue knowledge because he is
Mm.
on the moksha marga. And then, in due course, kramena, he will then realize himself. And
Yeah.
then at that point, when he does realize, just like how that yavanartha udapane sarvata samplutodake,
Right.
there is no need for any karma for him. There is so much of flooding everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
He's in that akarta bhav. So there is no particular karma he requires to do or not do. So
So
he's
that
in that
you are talking about the number
jnani.
10 sloga, right? The one you are saying, Nadvesh.
Yeah, nadveshtya kushalam karma. Correct.
Right. Right. Good job. All right. So please share your thoughts on the number 13 so we can go on to read the 5 causes. Yeah, it's nice to review it. That's really good. Very well. Okay. All right. If, if everybody is meditating, then we can go on to the next one. And let's see. After meditation, we'll come up again with the discussion. Adhisthanam tata karta karanam cha pratakvidam vividaksha pratak chesta daivam shaivatra panchamam. Adhisthanam, the physical body. Tata, so too. Karta, the agent. Karanam cha pratak vidam. And the separate manifold means vividaha cha pratak. The distinct and diverse. Vividaha, that's distinct and diverse. Sheshtaha, activities. Sheshtaha, right? Sheshtaha is activities of the pranas. Oh, okay. These activities of the pranas. Sheshtaha. Atra, here, daivam evacha, and daiva is indeed. So, and daiva, the presiding deities. So, daivam evacha, okay, sorry. Daivam cha eva, and daiva, the presiding deities, is indeed panchama, the fifth. So, the physical body, so too the agent, the distinct and diverse activities of the pranas, and indeed Daiva, the presiding deities, is the fifth here. Oh, so that's the five pranas is considered anyway. I'll read this Tatparya again. The physical body, so to the agent, so to the agent, the distinct and diverse activities of the pranas, distinct and diverse activities of the pranas, and indeed Daiva is the fifth here, the presiding deities. The five factors involved in karma, the place where all accomplishments are possible. Okay, the place where all accomplishments are possible, where you can fulfill a desire by taking an action. Okay, taking an action is the adhisthana. Okay, that's a body. So the place where all accomplishments are possible, where you can fulfill a desire by taking action, is the adhisthana. This is the place from where you operate in the world to gain experiences, the locus of enjoyment, bhoga ayatana, okay, bhoga ayatana, the physical body. Centered on this are all actions. Centered on this all are all actions, because in it are placed all the karmendriyas, the organs of action. So, in this body, all the karmendriyas, that's organs of action, is placed. The word adhisthana means basis and is used in a different context when we refer to the Atma as the very basis, the Satya of the world. Like a rope is adhisthana for the snake. Okay, let me read this one. The word adhisthana means basis and is used in a different context when we refer to the Atma as the very basis, the Satya of the world. Like the rope is the adhisthana for the, oh, where did it go? Oh my God. Where did I send it? The whole page is gone somewhere. Hmm.
You are muted, Dr. Mara. You'll have to unmute yourself.
Oh, sorry. I don't know what happened. It got it like paused, it says, then I Sarveshwar. Yeah, we were reading Adhisthanam, right? Okay. Whenever I'm trying to push this and it goes off. Oh man. I think it's better to leave it in the
Please
script.
read from the beginning, the 5 factors.
Yeah, sure. I will read it. Okay. The 5 factors involved in karma, the place where all accomplishments are possible, where you can fulfill a desire for by taking action, is the adhisthana. This is the place from where you operate in the world to gain experiences, the locus of enjoyment, bhoga ayatana, the physical body. Centered on this are all actions, because in it are all play or placed all the karmendriyas, the organ of action. The word adhisthana means basis and is used in a different context when we refer to the Atma as the very basis, the Satya of the world. Like the rope is the adhisthana for the snake projected on it. For the snake projected on it. Here, adhisthana means the basis for performing action, since the subject matter under discussion is karma. Again, here the word, here adhisthana means the basis for performing action, since the subject matter under discussion is karma. One of the factors necessary for performing action is the physical body. So first, number one factor is you need the factor necessary for performing action is the physical body. Shankara say that it is the basis for the manifestation of desire, aversion, happiness, sorrow, and knowledge. So it is the basis for the manifestation. So the body is the basis for manifestation of desire, aversion, happiness, sorrow, and knowledge. Desire manifests in the form of an effort to fulfill it. Aversion manifests as an action of repulsion. All the sense organs bring in the data on the basis of which you experience sukha and dukkha. And each sense organ is placed in the physical body in its anatomical location. So, and each sense organ is placed in the physical body in its anatomical location. The eardrum is purely a physical thing, but it is absolutely necessary for hearing. Similarly, for every perception, there must be a physical locus in which the relevant sense organ can operate. Similarly, for every perception, there must be a physical locus in which the relevant sense organ can operate. For knowledge, perception is necessary, and that perception takes place only through sense organs. which are placed in the physical body. So, for knowledge, perception is necessary, and that perception takes place through the sense organs, which are placed in the physical body. Even though the knowledge is gained by sense organs, the basis, the locus for all these sense organs called adhisthana is the physical body. So we talked about physical body, karmendriyas, how karmendriyas helping the information gathered to gain the knowledge. Next paragraph is who does the action? The one who takes the initiative for an action with a certain intention. So the one who takes the initiative for an action with a certain intention, sankalpa, perform the action and owns it up, is the agent, the karta, and is the second requirement is in performing an action. So we are coming to the second agent. So I'll read this one more time, this line. Who does the action? The one who takes the initiative for an action with a certain intention. So one is initiating and then with the intention, that is sankalpa, perform the action and owns it up, is the agent, the karta, and is the second requirement in performing an action, otherwise called chidabhasa. Chiddabhasa. Okay. Chiddabhasa or ahankara. Another name for is Chiddabhasa or ahankara. He is the one who does the karma and enjoys its results. With the reference to what is done, he is called karta. With reference to what is experienced, bhokta. Now we know how the karta and bhokta comes, right? Okay. So the second matter is that who does the action? The one who I'm reading that paragraph one more time. Who does the action? The one who takes the initiative for an action with a certain intention, sankalpa, performs the action and owns it up, is the agent, the karta, and is the second requirement in performing an action, otherwise called chiddabhasa or ahankara. He is the one who does the karma and enjoys its results. With reference to what is done, he is called karta. With reference to what is experienced, bhokta. So what is done, what is experienced, karta and bhokta. So first agent is the adhisthana, which is basis physical body. Second is ahankara. Then there is the means karana. So then there is the means karana, the instrument with which the action is performed. Okay. Then there is the means karana, the instrument with which the action is performed. This includes 5 organs of action. That is karmendriyas. 5 sense organs, jnanendriyas, the mind, manas, and that entertains the fancy to do a given action. So 5 karmendriyas and 5 jnanendriyas, the mind entertains the fancy to do a given action, and buddhi that resolves to do it. So it makes a decision. First desiring, then deciding. Yes, I will do it. And then using the eyes, etc., the hands and legs, etc., one does the action. This means are manifold and diverse, each one being distinct from each other, from the other, pratak. The mind also is a karana called antakarana. Sorry, I said karana, but it is actually karana. Okay. The mind also is a karana that called antakarana. All of these have their own distinct activities. So mind is keeping in mind all of these have their own distinct activities. So that's the third part. with the five jnanendriyas, karmendriyas plus manas and buddhi. The fourth essential factor is prana, which makes all these activities possible. Without the prana, the body will not hold the subtle body. So, without the prana, the body will not hold the subtle body, which has the functional aspect of all these karanas. I read it as karanas, but karanas, yeah, it does sound like karanas. The activities sheshas, okay, sheshas of this prana, the activities sheshas of this prana are manifold, vividaha, 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 each one distinct from the other with its own separate function. There is respiration consisting of inhalation and exhalation, prana, and evacuation, apana, circulation, vyana, digestion, samana, and the reversal of the physiological functions, udana. These five together, called as the prana, form the fourth factor necessary for performing an action, without which there cannot be any action. For any action, you require energy that is supplied by the prana. So, I'll read this paragraph one more time quickly. The fourth essential factor is prana, which makes all these activities possible. Without the prana, the body will not hold the subtle body, which has the functional aspect of all these karanas. The activities, seshas, of this prana are manifold, vividaha, each one distinct from the other with its own separate function. There is respiration consisting of inhalation and exhalation, prana, and evacuation, apana, circulation, vyana, digestion, samana, and the reversal of the physiological functions, udana. These five together, called as the prana, form the fourth factor necessary for performing an action, without which there cannot be any action. For any action, you require energy. For any action, you require energy that is supplied by the prana. Okay. Sorry. The next one is the fifth factor. Then there is a fifth factor. The presiding deities of all these functionaries, collectively called Daiva, form the fifth factor. Okay, so Daiva form the fifth factor. Wherever there is a function, so wherever there is function, there is a law involved. So wherever there is a function, there is a law involved. Otherwise, it cannot operate. Why should the eyes see, not the ears? Why should the eyes not hear? There must be some law. What is it? We know that it governs not only your pair of eyes, but every pair of eyes. That is why there is that's really great. There is an ophthalmologist. I thought he's going to talk about sun. The function of every eye follows certain rules that do not change. The function of every eye follows certain rules that do not change. That means there is Ishvara in the form of eyes and in the form of laws that govern the eyes. So I'll read this line again. That means there is Ishvara in the form of eyes and in the form of laws that govern the eyes. So Ishvara is part of the eye. There is a Lord governing the law of hearing and law of smelling, law of tasting, and law of thinking, even of sukha and dukkha. So I just want to recollect the deity for eyes, the sun, for ear, Diktevata, and for the smell is Aswini Kumaras, But the taste is earth. But the taste and what else? Smell. Smell is Asmi Kumara scaring Dikta. Oh my God, I forgot taste. Okay, the law of thinking. The law of thinking, even of Sukha and Dukkha, etc. All these are absolutely logical. Otherwise, there could not be a subject called psychology or any other discipline of knowledge centered on the body. Okay. Otherwise, there could not be a subject called psychology. So all these are absolutely logical. Otherwise, there could not be a subject called psychology or any other discipline of knowledge centered on the body. These disciplines exist because we can generalize that. If these are the conditions, then the following will be the outcome. When one thing takes place, the other necessarily happens. Thus, we have laws. So, when one thing takes place, the other necessarily happens. Thus, we have laws. So, the cause and effect part. The physical body, the pranas, the sense organs. Okay, the physical. Okay, we are coming back to all the 5 factors here. The physical body, the pranas, the sense organs, and the mind are all nothing but laws. If we took at if we look at Ishvara through those laws, each law becomes a devata. The devata for the eyes is the sun. Oh, it's coming here. Okay. The devata for the eyes is the sun, Aditya, for speech, fire, Agni, and so on. And whenever there is a problem, I remember now, it's Varuna is the taste god uh, for the taste. Whenever there is a problem with the eyes, we propitiate the presiding deity of the eyes, the sun. Okay, whenever there is a problem with the eyes, we propitiate the presiding deity of the eyes, the sun. Nothing is taken for granted. The fact that a particular amount of strength is necessary to lift a particular object is the part of this law. So the fact, I'll read this line again, the fact that a particular amount of strength is necessary to lift a particular object is the part of this law. That law which governs this and all actions is Daiva. If a given sense organ or organ of action is employed in the successful performance of that action, there is a presiding factor, the presiding deity, which is the law itself looked upon as a deity. So, for any karma to be accomplished, there must be Daiva. If you recognize that, you are called an Astika. If you are called an Astika. If you do not, you are a Nastika. According to us, the one who accepts the Shastra is an Astika, and the one who does not is a Nastika. But when you accept the Shastra, you accept the Devatas also, the presiding deities that preside over and bless the eyes and so on to make them what they are, form the 5th factor called Daiva. These then are 5 factors necessary for the performance of any action. What kinds of action are done by them? So that coming up in the next verse. You guys want anything to be repeated? Pardon me, my showing of these pages is kind of getting.
Uh, in between, my internet was shaky, so I couldn't hear most of the part. If everybody is okay, can you please read from the beginning, please, if it is possible? Otherwise, I can go back to the recording.
No problem. I mean, it's.
So, Maraji, what are the 5 factors?
Sure. The 5 factors, we'll go back to the sloka, and that way I will read it to you, Memerology, just to bear with this for a minute. So, if you go back to this sloka, Adhisthanam Tata Karta Karanam Sa Pratak Vidam Vidash Pratak Cheta Daivam Shaivatra Panchamam. So, Adhisthanam. So the base is 5 factors. This I could just name it quickly. That is physical body, first one. The second, that is the basis for everything to do the action. And the second one is, we talked about karmendriyas,
Ahankara.
jnanendriyas, and mind. Those are, oh, sorry. Second one is actually ahankara, that, that
Chidaka.
becomes a karta, and bhokta, and all that, right? We read that about ahankara. And the third one is the this the
Organs,
organs of
sense
action,
organs, actions.
karmendriyas,
Mm.
jnanendriyas, because they are sense of the perception, right? So we need that perception to bring that knowledge to the mind. So that's how that action can be. First of all, their deciding factor. The desire have to happen in the mind, and then the buddhi decides to do it. So that has to happen in that third part is with these organs of action, sense organs, mind and buddhi. The third factor. Fourth factor is um, the pranas,
Data.
because
No.
yeah, the pranas, without prana, because for every action you need energy. The energy comes from that 5 pranas. That 5 pranas are prana, that is breathing, vyana, apana, vyana, samana, and udana. So that's a fourth factor, right? And the fifth factor is the all this presiding deities for this action. So karmendriyas, if it has to function, or the jnanendriyas to function, there is this law that is for every action. There is mm, in the nature, there is a law. There is certain law. It only functions through that law. It's like where eyes only can see, it won't hear, right? So eyes only can see, and it will do that function. Whereas ear only hearing, it won't go and eat the food, right? So like that, every part of our body has a distinct function, that to perform that Ishvara, presiding deity, is overseeing it, and through certain law, meaning that it has to do this function. Like sun has to rise in the east side, that means it has to come up in the every morning, it has to come up like that. Our eyes only have to see the every organ and every prana, everything has its own function. So everything is done by according to this law. So that is the fifth factor. This is why these 5 factors help to perform the action, what is to be accomplished. So that is what I got from this. So shall I, there's one, anybody wants to say anything, or should I read it one more time for her? Of course, there are a lot of other information is there. I only went over what the 5 factors are. A lot of examples were given. Okay, it shouldn't take more than a few minutes to read this. Okay, the 5 factors involved in karma, the place where all accomplishments are possible. When you can hear me, Rina? Yeah? Yeah. The place where all
Yes, doctor.
okay, the place where all accomplishments are possible, where you can fulfill your desire by taking action, is the adhisthana. This is the place where you operate in the world to gain experiences the locus of enjoyment, bhoga ayatana. Bhoga ayatana. So that is, you perform the action, gain experience, then that's a locus of enjoyment called bhoga ayatana. That's a physical body. Centered on this are all actions, because in it are placed all the karmendriyas, organs of action. The organs of action. The word adhisthana means basis and is used in a different context when we refer to an atma, to the atma. So the word adhisthana means basis and is used in a different context when we refer to the atma as the very basis, the satya of the world. Like the rope is the adhisthana for the snake projected on it. So here, so the reason they are talking about atma, like atma is the very basis of the world. So, and the atma superimposed by the body, whereas the jagat is superimposed. I mean, sorry, it's actually illusion anyway. So I couldn't go back on that. Okay. So this rope is superimposed. Its rope is the basis for the snake projected on it. Here, the adhisthana means the uh, basis for performing action. So this is the first one. Okay. Here adhisthana means the basis for performing action. Since the subject matter under discussion is karma, one of the factors necessary for performing action is the physical body. Shankara say that it is the basis for manifestation of desire, aversion, happiness, sorrow, and knowledge. Desire manifests in the form of an effort to fulfill it. Aversion manifests an action of repulsion. All the sense organs bring in data on the basis of which you experience sukha and dukkha. And each sense organ is placed in the physical body in its anatomical location. The eardrum is purely a physical thing, but it is absolutely necessary for hearing. Similarly, for every perception, there must be a physical locus in which the relevant sense organ can operate. For knowledge, perception is necessary, and that perception takes place only through sense organs, which are placed in the physical body. Just bear with me a moment. I just want to get a water. If anybody would like to talk about it, I'll be there. Okay. The eardrum is purely a physical thing, but it is absolutely necessary for hearing. Similarly, for every perception, there must be a physical locus in which the relevant sense organ can operate. For knowledge, perception is necessary for knowledge, perception is necessary, and that perception takes place only through sense organs, which are placed in the physical body. Even though knowledge is gained by the sense organs, the basis, the locus for all these sense organs called adhisthana, is the physical body. So the knowledge is gained by the sense organs. The basis, the locus of all the sense organs called adhisthana is the physical body. Now, how you wonder why we have all these organs to gain knowledge in the human body. Who does the action? The one who takes the initiative for an action with a certain intention, sankalpa, performs the action and owns it up. It is the agent, the karta, and is the second requirement in performing an action, otherwise called chiddabhasha or ahankara. He is the one who does the karma and enjoys its results. With reference to what is done, he is called karta. In reference to what is experienced, bhokta. Then there is the means, karana, the instrument with which the action is performed. This includes 5 organs of action, karmendriyas, the 5 sense organs, jnanendriyas, the mind, manas, that entertains the fancy to do a given entertains the fancy to do a given action, and the buddhi that resolves to do it. First desiring, then deciding, yes, I will do it. And then using the eyes, etc., the hands and legs, etc., one does the action, which this means are manifold endeavors, each one being distinct from the other, pratak. The mind also is a karana called antakarana. All of these have their own distinct activities. So that's the third one. And the fourth essential factor is prana, which makes all these activities possible. Without the prana, the body will not hold the subtle body, which has the functional aspect of all these karanas. The activities sheshas of this prana are manifold, vividaha, each one distinct from the other with its own separate function. So without the prana of the body, it won't hold a subtle body. And it is a functional aspect of all these elements. Anyway, going back to the pranas, that 5 pranas, there is respiration consisting of inhalation and exhalation, prana, and evacuation, apana, circulation, vyana, digestion, samana, and the reversal of these physiological functions, udana. These 5 together called as the prana form the 4th factor necessary for performing an action. So these 5 together called as the prana form the 4th factor necessary for performing an action, without which there cannot be any action. For any action, you require energy that is supplied by the prana. So there is a then there is a 5th factor. The preceding deities of all these functionaries, collectively called Daiva, form the 5th factor. Wherever there is a function, there is a law involved. Otherwise, it cannot operate. Why should the eyes see, not the ears? Why should the eyes not hear? There must be some law. So, we get to the 5th factor, remembering is wherever there is function, there is law involved. There must be some law. What is it? We know that it governs not only your pair of eyes, but every pair of eyes. That is why there is an ophthalmologist. Okay. The function of every eye follows certain rules that do not change. So the function of every eye follows certain rules that do not change. That means there is Ishvara in the form of eyes and in the form of laws that govern the eyes. There is a Lord governing the law of hearing, law of smelling, law of tasting, and the law of thinking, even of sukha and dukkha, etc. All these are absolutely logical. Otherwise, there could not be a subject called psychology or any other discipline of knowledge centered on the body. Any other discipline of knowledge centered on the body. These disciplines exist because we can generalize that. If these are the conditions, then the following will be the outcome. Then, when one thing takes place, the other necessarily happens. Thus, we have laws. So, last line, I repeat this. These disciplines exist because we can generalize that if these are the conditions, then the following will be the outcome. When one thing takes place, the other necessarily happens. Thus, we have laws. The physical body, the pranas, the sense organs, and the mind are all nothing but laws. One, if we look at Ishvara through those laws, each law becomes a devata. The devata for the eyes is the sun, Aditya, for speech, fire, Agni, and so on. Whenever there is a problem with eyes, we propitiate the presiding deity of the eyes, the sun. Okay. Whenever there is a problem with the eyes, we propitiate the presiding deity of the eyes, the sun. Nothing is taken for granted. The fact that particular amount of strength is necessary to lift a particular object is part of this law. The law which governs this and all action is Daiva. If a given sense organ or organ of action is employed in the successful performance of that action, there is a presiding factor, the presiding deity, which is the law itself looked up on as deity. For any karma to be accomplished, there must be Daiva. If you recognize that, if you are called a Nastika, Astika, if you do not, you are a Nastika. According to us, the one who accept the Shastra is a Nastika, and the one who does not is a Nastika. But when you accept Shastra, you accept the Devatas also, these presiding deities that preside over and bless the eyes, and so on to make them what they are, from the fifth factor called Daiva. So these are the 5 factors necessary for the performance of any action.
Thank you, Doctor.
Yeah, please share your Manana and this one. Hmm. So you guys okay with that? So we did 13 and 14, right? 2 minutes.
Other than these five factors, anything other is described here?
Other than the 5
Grace
factors?
for Devtas only, na? Last one is the grace of Devtas,
Yeah, basically,
for example.
yeah. Fifth factor is Daiva, collectively called as a fifth factor. So, so what they are saying is, whatever there is a function, there is a law. That law is governed by the deity. I mean, but Deva. That with that Deva is a Ishvara. It had to happen, and it's a certain rule that they follow. It has to happen. That's why that medical disciplines are formed and all that. Because for example, if somebody has fever, sore throat, and swollen glands, they have like and they exudate like meaning white stuff on their tonsils, then we know that's a strep infection. So that's how this medical disciplines were planned, right? Like all this medical discipline meaning so say for example internal medicine or adult medicine doctor, that means he checks the whole body and he's not like specialized in one thing, he is able to take care of everything. But if you go to cardiologist and he only will take care of the heart, only the heart, if there is anything else going on in the blood vessel, he won't be able to. That for that, another vascular surgeon or vascular surgery person would be the one. So every body knows, when the studying part, because of the logic. This only happens. This is what come. So these things are causing cause factor, and this is the outcome. This is the action you perform. This is the outcome that comes out. So that's how all this, uh, you know, established. So basically, it's kind of interesting to read this. Hearing from Bhagavan, we never thought about like this. Of course, we know it's a human body. We how all this are there, and
Because ultimately, uh,
mm,
this the world is born of Maya, and
right,
Maya is nothing but a
Ishvara,
product of Ishvara. So there is
right,
that Pratibimbam of Ishvara is Maya, and the
right,
Jagat is a Pratibimbam of Maya, and all that we do is a reflection of that.
right. So, so this action uh, for the karmas, this is what they're explaining, right? All this karma, how is being performed and whatnot. So, uh, the karmas actually had to have all these things to be involved to perform an action. So we cannot neglect our body or anything, any sense of, oh, I only want the knowledge and I'm not going to do anything. That is not going to happen, right? And you have to uh, get this. And even ahankara is it's mentioned here, right? As a second factor, who is a karta and bhokta. So it's all just basis of karma. So we are just only talking about karma here. That's where why that also is mentioned. So the last line here, these they're not the 5 factors necessary for the performance of any action. What kind of actions are done by them will be in the next sloka.
So the 5 factors are the physical body, the sense organs,
the ahankara, and then the the sense organ, karmendriyas, jnanendriyas, manas. That those where the desire pops, and then they want to do this action or perform something, right? Then the buddhi decides, yeah, you go ahead and do it. Okay, then you say, I'm going to do this. Like, so that's the third factor. The third factor is karmendriyas, jnanendriyas, manas, and buddhi. Second one is the ahankara or siddha bhasha. That so he's saying who does the action, right? See, the body is the basis, and then you ask the question who, how, why, all of that, how you're going to do it, that answer to that question is like this: who does the action? Then you have to have an agent. That agent is be owning up. So one is not only initiating the action, and then you have the intention to do that action, and then performing the action and owning it up. Everything, as a karta means you have initiating, intention to do, and performing it and owning it up. If you do an action, you own it up. You don't dump it on somebody else. So that is a karta. That karta is what is to be done is a karta, and what is experienced is called bhokta. So that's a karta and bhokta is chitta bhasha or ahankar, the second one. The third one is what we mentioned about the action. The fourth one is the pranas, which is what giving 5 pranas that gives the energy for performing the action.
and the fifth is the daivam, right?
Yeah. All the divers, like I was just mentioning earlier, like that, remember we, for vision, we have a sun, for hearing, Dik Devada, and for the smell, Ashwini Kumaras, and the tongue is Varuna for the taste. And then for the wind, I think for the touch, what was touch is Vayu, no?
Yeah,
That's a
Vayu.
wind. Vayu is the
Vayu.
wind, but
Vayu.
Vayu is the god also for the touch sensation. God, Vayu god. I think so.
Yes.
Okay, so that is for say organs of perception. Organs of action for the we read the Agni for the speech, right? And then for the hands would be Indra, and feet is Vishnu, and Prajapati is for the I don't know what is that called, for
Jananendriya.
genital. Yeah, anal thing is Mooladhara is for the Yama. Those are 5 gods. Karmendriya, Jnanendriyas. For Manas, you have moon. Buddhi is Brahma. For Ahankara is Ishvara. I think Shiva, I think he's the one destroyer, right? Shiva. And then what else? Memory is Vishnu. No, what did I say? Brahma is man. For
Chandra.
Buddhi is
Mana is
Brahma.
Chandra.
No, Manas is Chandra, right? But then
Correct.
for the memory, Chit, Vishnu, I think one is, I don't remember. It was I don't remember it was Saraswati. I don't think Saraswati is for knowledge, but I think Vishnu or somebody there.
Maybe Brahma, I think. Brahmi, there's a medicine called.
Brahma is for Buddhi, right? The knowledge. I think, anyway, I don't want to mix up, but I'll look it up and tell you.
Hariom,
Yeah.
what about the gods of like the organ of action? They are also included in this.
Yeah. I mean, see, we,
For legs, like for legs, hands.
right. So, fifth factor is daiva. They just generally say daiva, right? But then to
So it
perform an
includes all.
action, you need pair of eyes, hands,
Yeah.
and feet, and all that, right?
I
It's not
agree.
like, yeah, it's
Okay.
not only performed by organ of perception, but it's also organ of
Organ
action
of
is
action.
involved
Okay.
to do perform an action.
You know, this makes so much sense.
Mm,
Gurudev says,
mm,
doing pujas, homas, and yajnas and everything, you are
right.
invoking the subtle forces.
Mm-hmm.
They're important to get your work done.
Yeah.
So when you look back on this, for any action to happen, you require all of this.
Right.
You require the body, adhishtana, you require the ahankara, you require the sense organs, the karmendriyas, you require the pancha pranas, and then you require the daivam, which is the presiding deities of all these organs of action and sense organs, and the chittanta karanani.
Yeah,
So
it's like
all,
nailing you, right? I
yeah,
mean,
it just
without that,
falls in
nothing is going to
place.
happen, right?
So
See,
you
this,
invoke their grace
yeah,
in order
exactly.
for you to get your work done, in order
Mm,
for you to have your life kind of comfortable in this world. So it all
yeah,
makes so much sense.
it is. Without, like, see, without any of it, just the body is just like jada, we can say that, but it is a basis. Like that, he's saying Atma is the basis for the whole world. I mean, for whole thing, right? Universe, maybe. But then, uh, what do you call that? I'm sorry, I was trying to say something. Yeah, well, the body is, you need this body. So each and every organ is in specific place, in order to
It
do
is.
even that. So that
It
is the
is.
basis. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
like
it's so
without it,
beautiful.
yeah, you wouldn't. Can you believe if it wasn't like this, the eyes will be hanging somewhere, and then your ears will be floating some. To imagine, even it just sounds funny. But
And
uh,
the
we always,
krama, yes,
mm,
please go ahead.
how no, how nicely placed. I always wonder
Mm.
about it. Why it has to be like this? When you
Mm.
see all these movies, the aliens, they kind of give you some different shapes and forms. I mean, even then it looks in the same way. Only we designed that. Even aliens with the big eyes, they may be little shape may be different, but it's still in somewhat in that mode. So anyway, go ahead, Ramra.
No, the way the puja vidhi is also there
Mm,
is when you invoke, when you do the sankalpa, you do the pranayama. In part of the sankalpa is you do, you're cleansing all the pranas, and then
mm-hmm,
you actually do. It's called digbandha, where you
mm,
take your eyes,
the water.
ears,
Uh-huh, yeah.
uh, you touch your hands,
Mm-hmm,
the so you're kind of invoking, you're bringing all of that together, and then you're praying. That dig bandhana is when you start the prayer, when before you begin the chanting of the mantras, and dig
yeah.
vimochana is at towards the end, where you again releasing all of that.
Yeah.
You're
When I'm
holding all of
reading,
them together.
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, it's so scientific. The
it
the whole
is.
krama of the puja of any chanting, for that matter,
Mm-hmm.
is so in order. It
In
falls in line with this shloka.
exactly. How
Yeah.
nicely he asking, the shift of the how he's saying this thing. Arjuna, please understand. It's like waking us up. Hey, listen, you understand this. Like he is so nicely said. So anyway, to going back about the Ishvara part, now when you think of your eyes, we have to actually, the eyes only functioning because of that Ishvara, right? Even though we think, okay, we have to take vitamin A, this, that only one makes it go working. No, it's not actually. It's somebody is managing this. So
Yes,
every
and
time you look at your hand, it'd be a, you should have, remember like Indra, okay, please make Indra to help me to do this, or your tongue to speak, or whatever, that kind of trying to remember all the diverse is
yeah,
fifth factor.
and I think that's why in
Mm,
the Vedangas
mm,
astrology has been put up, so that there
mm,
is a prediction and as well as the remedy also, because there are some things, some devas are weak in you, and then you invoke them. If they are
oh,
weak, you make them stronger, and if they're
okay.
too strong, then
Mm,
there
you kind
is
of
to
bring it down.
bring
Right.
them down, and that's
Mm,
how the remedies come. And of course,
mm,
these will work only in the scope of your Purushartha or the free will. If you're
mm,
destined, there is nothing can be done. But
mm,
within the scope of free will, you are asked to do some remedies over there.
mm,
Like if your son is not weak, then morning, getting up early in the morning, giving the argya,
mm,
water, you strengthen your Surya and being in the routine, because sun is,
right.
he is placed in that routine.
Mm-hmm,
So if you keep up with the routine, and if the Saturn is weak, then you can make him strong by doing hard work. I mean, putting 100% in your work.
mm-hmm,
These are the remedies which are given, and that's why it is a part of Vedanga. Now that clarity is coming.
mm. So quickly, I just you were asking me about the five sense organs, right? The presiding deities for, I'm looking at Tattva Bodh, the page. I mean, it's in iPad. I'll just quickly read it to you. Presiding deities of the sense organs of perception, space for ears. Okay, space for ears, air of the skin, sun of the eyes, water of the tongue, and Ashwini Kumaras of the nose. Okay. So I said something different. Okay. Maybe I got it from.
No, the devtas are different. You are right. Here you are right. But they
Mm,
have put the devtas for karmendriyas are different, for jnanendriya. Devtas are
Andhra
different.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's in the sloka, it's a little bit different. Looks like. Okay. Now I have it. Okay. The organs of perception, right? Presiding deity for ears. For ears is Dik Devata, hearing sound. Okay, that's Dik Devata for the ears. For the skin, Vayu. That's why I said Vayu, feeling and touch. Okay, and then this is the organs of perception, which is the Jnanendriyas. Eyes is Surya, tongue is Varuna, and the nose is Ashwini Kumaras. Remember, I told you about this, how the sound comes from outside, different direction. That's how I remember, like Dik Devata. Vayu, like when the wind touches you, you feel the wind. That's how I remember that skin is Vayu. Surya is, of course, that something I kind of mm, my I don't know. I remember that. Varuna is a taste, like because without the water, you don't taste the food. So Varuna, that's how you remember that. And Ashwini Kumaras for the smell. And then the organs of sense organs of what do you call that? Uh, Karmendriyas, right? Karmendriya, as I told, Agni is for the speech, fire is for the speech, Indra for the hands, Vishnu for the legs, Yama for the anus, Prajapati for the genitals. And then Manas, causal body. Chitta.
Manaso Devata, we've actually finished our time, but we'll wind up with this.
Yeah,
Manaso Devata Chandramaha.
yeah.
Then there is Rudra for something. I don't know.
Rudra is for
what.
the
Ahankara, I think.
Ahankara, yeah.
Yeah,
Rudra
Rudra is
for
Ahankara.
Brahma for the buddhi, I thought, the discrimination. Sorry
So
about
we
that.
keep
Okay.
that as homework. We'll
Yeah.
revise Tattva Bodh, those few shlokas. We'll
Mhm.
check out who the presiding deity of Chitta and Buddhi is. And
Right.
we'll close here today.
Yeah, sure. I'll say this one.
Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat Shri Krishnarpanamastu. Jai Gurudev.
You want me to play anything today, or we can do it tomorrow?
We'll do it tomorrow. Today